I met a gypsy.
Were you surprised at how, I guess, how it escalated in terms of like the lengths that people were willing to go? Like I had a bunch of different calls from people that had offers from you guys to work for the series. And even to the point where Feld was saying like, well, it's us or them, and it's like one door opens, this one closes kind of deal. And it's like that to me, I was like, I mean, there's two sides to it all, and I get it. I get both sides, but I'm putting myself in the shoes of like being the person that makes that call. And I'm like, even though I get it for the business side of things, it's like, is that kind of what we should be doing here,
Yeah, and I think if it's business decisions, I mean, by Feld or Promotocross, like we don't hold any grudges against business competition even. Though, again, we like to think that we don't see ourselves as that. We would love to, and again, this may be wishful thinking on my part, be allies in a way and be like, we're all trying to build the sport. And we, hey, Feld, you guys are going to do us a bunch of favors by running an incredible series from, January to May. We think that we can help you continue the Supercross messaging around the world that leads into your next January to May. Yeah. We genuinely feel that we can live harmoniously to an extent. It was really hard, and it will be hard, or it's impossible not to clash with dates with other championships around the world, which is, if you want to be a world championship, we can't cram it to the back part of the year over a 6 or 8 week, time frame. And we're running a legitimate world championship long term. We can't. So we wanted to start gently. We probably could have started more gently with our messaging, but we think that there is a way to coexist. That's the way we want to see it. I mean, it bums me out to think that, like, if I couldn't go to one of the AMA Supercrosses and check it out, that like now it'd be so a big deal. Like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, like. I would love to watch it, of course. And if I was, if I could, I'd be watching the donations at Redbud this weekend because I'm pumped for it. I think it's awesome. So that part of it is kind of frustrating. And I think a lot of it, there's 50, and I've been told this, which I think is true. I think there's 50% that's kind of like business and competition and wanting to protect, themselves in business, which I completely respect. But then there's a 50% that's kind of like a, fuck you guys, we're going to stop you. Yeah. That part bums me out because I'm like, again, maybe naively, I'm like, but we're friends. Like, we're going to do this together. And like, you know what I mean? Like that part of it, I want to change. Like, I want that to come back around to be like, again, everyone's got to do what's right for their business. I didn't expect a lot of people to help us, but I didn't think there'd be so much energy
trying to stop
it. Yeah. I thought like if you were looking at the sport and its potential, that operating in a way that's counter that around the world, I think is negative. So and that I didn't expect. I genuinely thought that people would say, hey, you guys are going to invest the money to grow the sport around the world. Go for it. We don't have any money for you because our budgets are spent. And I would be like, totally understand. That's fine. We get that. But I didn't think that anyone would be like, we're going to stop you from doing that. Yeah, and that's the part we want to try and rectify.
Yeah, and I think that I mean that's where I guess I understand certain things on like a business decision, like, hey, okay, we got to draw the line at here. But I mean there was so many instances where it just seemed like just legitimately personal. And then to me, I think that always, I mean, I feel like it's sort of similar when just anyone from inside the industry shits on anyone, because where it's just like, what are we doing? Like, is this about me? Is this about you? Is this about like the sport in general? Like,
and it's really small, as you know. It's actually really small. I know here in Australia, you have this perception that the sport over there is massive, and it is massive, in terms of viewership and numbers, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a very small industry that operates in very much the same way as it does here in Australia, just on a bigger scale. Yeah.
And if you've got 20 phone numbers in your phone from people with inside the industry, and one of those is Davey Coombs and one of those is Dave Prater, like, you're pretty much able to speak to anybody in the entire industry. Like it is that small.
Yeah, totally. And again, we're all on the same team is the way I view it. I think there's certain decisions. But I also think that, I think we all have a responsibility to try and grow the sport to its maximum potential.
Yeah.
I think that any decision made or any stance taken should be with that lens.
Yeah.
It should be like, and I think trying to stop us is anti that.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest, because what we are doing, we genuinely believe is for the good of the sport, and we need to make sure that's portrayed properly. So, you know, I don't say, again, you don't have to support anyone, but I think trying to stop that, I think is a negative.
Yeah.
And I don't think that it makes sense.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.